Hello, students. This is your basic MLA citation. Pretty much everything that you are going to need to know for it. So let's just go into it. A lot of it, most of it, is found in Chapter 12 of Reading Critically and Writing Well. I'm not putting the pages in because some of you have online books, some of you have older books, but I think it's in Chapter 12 of most of them. Okay. Now, there are only a few approved sources. Well, there's lots, but there's a limit to the approved sources you can use. If you find it on the library database, that's an excellent source. You can use magazine and journal articles. You can use newspaper articles. You can use books. You can use personal interviews and anything that you do that's your own stuff, and that's really good. And I'm sure you guys know this, but just in case, and just to say, well, you didn't tell me, don't use Wikipedia. It doesn't work. Now, I use Wikipedia lots for general information. I just don't use it for academic essays. And if you need to use an internet source, you can use some. You can use the ones that are from EDU, GOV, or MIL. And you also can use .com sources that are also in print, such as WashingtonPost.com or NewYorkTimes.com. Major magazines, major newspapers, things like that. You can use that. You cannot use .org, .net, or .com, except for these types of .com ones. That's it. Okay, so what do you cite? Now that you know the approved sources, what do you cite? Any idea, information, or language that you borrow from a source, whether it's print or online. And whether it's the language, notice it's idea or information or language. So not just the exact words, but if it's their idea or their information that is unique to them, then you cite it. When in doubt, cite. Do not cite the following, though. Common knowledge, like George Washington was the first president of the United States. You can find it in an encyclopedia, or you can find it in 2 or 3 sources. It's probably common knowledge. Facts available in multiple sources, like Pavlov was known for his experiments in behavioral analysis. Pretty much everybody knows about Pavlov's dogs. So if it's multiple sources, you don't have to do that. And then well-known quotations, choose a job you love and you'll never have to work a day in your life, to be or not to be. And the things that are well-known, you don't have to cite them. And of course, your own ideas and materials that you create yourself, you don't have to cite. When you do cite, you're going to use what's called in-text citations. You tell the reader where you found your information. That's what it's there for, so they can check it and they can go find out. You're going to see this in 4 or 5 places probably, but every in-text citation has a corresponding entry in the works cited page. That is so important. If it's in one, it has to be in the other. And every in-text citation has a signal phrase, and it's the first word that goes back to that works cited entry, okay? Usually the signal phrase is the last name of the author. But if the author is unknown, it's the first word or words and the title of the reference. And notice it's got the quotation marks there. Notice there's no commas here. No commas here. Okay. 3 things in the in-text citation: the quotation or paraphrase, the signal phrase, and the page number if applicable. If you get it from a print source, you put the page number. And then there's a couple of ways to include a signal phrase in a parenthetical expression, which is the author's last name and the page number. Notice no periods, nothing there. No periods, nothing there. You can include it in the text of your essay if it sounds good that way. Etzoni asserts, and then McDonald's is bad for your kids. And the page number. If you don't have a page number, it's fine to cite it this way. That Zoni claims McDonald's is bad for your kids. So if you do the one that's online, I'm giving you that choice in the diagnostic essay. You don't have to have a page number. Excuse me. Other things to remember. Don't double tag. Don't use a signal phrase twice. How not to do it at Zoni claims McDonald's is bad for your kids at Zoni. See, it's double tagged because it's got it there and it there. If you have an in-text citation, you must have a corresponding entry in the works cited page and vice versa. If you have an entry in the works cited page, you must have an in-text citation. Then the essay must be mostly your own words. I will allow up to a 15% Turnitin score. It doesn't have to be 15. You can have less, and that's just fine. Any more than that will be a reduction in your grade. I would imagine the first essay that you're going to write will have hardly anything in the Turnitin. The first essay that you write is going to be kind of a practice to make sure you understand MLA format, how to turn it in, things like that. Indirect quotations. If you quote someone who's quoting someone else, cite it this way. Sister Smith, whoever he is, affirms, quit worrying about what others think of you. And then it's quoted in Maynard 280. You would not have a works cited entry for Smith, but you would have one for Maynard. Block quotations. If it's 5 or more typed lines, then use a block quotation format. It's indented 10 spaces from the left margin. The right margin stays the same. It's double spaced. No quotation marks. Don't indent the paragraph if there's only one. And the parenthetical expression follows the period, if you have one. And then using the VVC database citation tool, which is awesome. You just go into the database, you find what you want, and then you go up to citations and pick out MLA and copy and paste. But, there's a but. First, so you copy and paste the citation. It doesn't do the hanging indent, so you're going to need to do that. It doesn't italicize, so you're going to need to do that also. And then you can check the example from the text for articles, print, online databases. It's on page 638 of the 12th edition, but you can find other ones in other places too. The works cited page. Again, this is the third time I've told you, but repetition is the key to learning. Somebody twice said that. Every citation within the text must have a corresponding entry in the works cited page. Sorry about that. That's why we don't have our phones on, right? And then center the title, double space it, alphabetize it. Use a hanging indent. Means the second and subsequent lines are indented 5 spaces. You can do this by going to the end of the first line, hitting enter, and then hitting tab. Abbreviate the name of university presses. Write out the other publishers' names. Many examples in Chapter 12 or at OWL. And you have other helps too. Textbook Chapter 12, OWL at Purdue, and the library handout's really good too. So, there you go. That's all you need for MLA citations. This will be used mostly whenever you do you need to do this before you turn in your first major essay. You need to make sure you go over this. But you will also use it for the MLA test. So, have a good day.